Mackenzie Sherilla this is. Mackenzie Sherilla, she is a 17-year-old who was found guilty of murder for causing a car crash that killed her boyfriend and his friend. Mackenzie decided death was the ultimate goal that day. This was not reckless driving. This was Murder Chill's boyfriend Dominic Russo and his friend Davin Flanagan were in the car when she crashed into the side of a commercial building outside of Cleveland going 100 mph. Both men were pronounced dead at the scene, and Sherilla survived. Prosecutors argued that the teen had a toxic relationship and Cheryl had made violent threats against her boyfriend, threatened his property. She threatened to break into his house. Correct, reportedly. She crashed her car on purpose because she wanted to kill her boyfriend, and that his friend was just collateral damage. The prosecutor said the intent was obvious upon seeing that video, that there was only one goal. You see her driving very calmly and making the right turn, and then evidence indicates she immediately put the pedal to the metal and drove straight into a building at 100 mph. You think those really demonstrated to us that this was no accident, and a few days before the crash, she allegedly took the same route to plot the crime. This is where the judge now finds her guilty. Count 1 finds the defendant Mackenzie Chill guilty of murder to Dominic Russo. She now stands up to be placed in handcuffs as she continues to tear up. Count 2 finds Senate Mackenzie Chilla guilty of murder to it. Davin did Chilla now has a moment to speak before her sentencing was Abavia. I'm so deeply sorry. I hope one day you can see. I would never let this happen or do it on purpose. I wish I could remember what happened. I'm just so sorry. I'm heartbroken. There was no medical condition that caused this as an accident. There was no mechanical failure of the car. A failed suicide attempt is not a defense to murder. There's every good likelihood, Mackenzie, that you will spend the rest of your life in prison. She's sentenced on count 1, 15 years to life. Count 2, 15 years to life to be served concurrent to each other. The judge just sentenced her to 15 years to life in prison. Aiden Fuji This is Aiden Fuji, who pled guilty in court for the murder of his classmate when he was only 14 years old. We're having fun in a cop car. Yep, Fuji was classmates with a 13-year-old girl from Patriot Oaks Academy in St. Johns County, Florida. Fuji stabbed her 114 times. Her dead body was later recovered from the woods. After Fuji was arrested, he can be seen in the back of the cop car taking Snapchats. Now this video shows Fuji and his parents in the interrogation room. That Snapchat that you did was not very smart. You're all over the internet. Near seriously, this very serious. This is no joke. This is your whole life. Your whole life, and hours of video from prosecutors showed Fuji and the girl allegedly walking together right before she was murdered. Then about 90 minutes later, the video shows Fuji allegedly running away from the area where the body was found. 114 stab wounds, 49 defensive wounds, 35 wounds to the head and neck, 29 to the back and shoulder, and 6 fatal wounds after Fuji plead guilty to first-degree murder. The judge now hands down his sentence, having entered a plea of guilty to the crime of first-degree murder. I sentenced you to life in prison because of your age. You are eligible for review of the sentence in 25 years after Fuji was sentenced. He stood still with a little Willard Miller, Jeremy Goodale movement. This is Willard Miller and Jeremy Goodale, and at just 16 years old, they are both charged for the murder of their high school Spanish teacher. Reportedly, it was over at a bad grade. Wethan moved her off of the trail where Ethan struck her, and she died as a result. Miller and Goodale went to Fairfield High School in southeastern Iowa. Noima Graber was the Spanish teacher at the school, and Miller was one of her students after he received a bad grade from Graver. He and his friend Goodale planned to kill her. You discussed general plan. I'll stand up here and look out. Wait from Creat to show up. Graber went for her usual walk at Shadowwaka City Park. The boys knew that as they stalked her, and they waited to ambush her here. She comes and she walked by and hit her in the back of the head. And then I said I should make sure she dead. So hit her a couple more times. They then dragged her into the woods and beat her to death with a baseball bat. Plan after that. It wasn't really a plan beyond that. Like, Hide the body, bury the body, save the body. At that time, we were going to hide the body. I guess in our errance kind of assumed that nobody would ever find her. Not long after both boys were arrested. Court documents alleged that the witness who knew Goodale showed law enforcement Snapchat messages that showed Goodale and Miller's involvement in the murder. One of the Snapchat messages saying, "Point of view. You're my Spanish teacher, and this is the last thing you see," followed by "Time to hide a body. Jeremy Good." Dale would later plead guilty and testify against his best friend Miller. He understood that he had the intent to kill Mrs. Graver. What is your plea to murder in the first degree, guilty or not guilty? Guilty. This is the moment that Goodale gets to speak. Before his sentence, I've had time to think on what to say, and I'm sorry, truly sorry every day. I wish I could go back and stop myself. I can't comprehend losing a loved one in such an awful way. And now the judge hands down his sentence. The defendants shall be sent to life with possibility parole after 25 years now. For Miller, this is him apologizing. Before he receives a sentence, I like to take this opportunity to wholeheartedly accept responsibility for the role that I've played in the murder of no human river. To the family, I'm sincerely sorry for the distress that I've caused you and the devastation, and I ask that I'm give a chance, and I don't want to be institutionalized. I don't want to be in so long. Forget about what matter where I come from and look forward to getting through this. And now the judge has some final last words. The defendant, Willard Noble Chaden Miller, should be sent to life with the possibility of parole after 35 years. Miller seems to be completely. Rachel Schoaf, Sheila Eddy unfazed. This is Rachel Shaw and Sheila Eddy, who are both in court today for the murder of their friend when they were only 16 years old. Their scheme was to hide knives on their bodies and to attack Skylar at an agreed-upon moment in Star City, West Virginia. Chand Eddy were friends with 16-year-old Skylar. Nye reportedly Shaw and Eddy decided they didn't like it anymore, so they planned to kill her. Sheila Eddy and Rachel Shaw carried out that plan together. They stabbed and killed Skylar after Shaw's confession. Both teens were arrested. Shaw agreed to plead guilty to second-degree murder in exchange for her cooperation in the case. I'm so sorry. I don't know if there's a proper way to make this apology because there are not even words to describe the guilt and remorse that I feel each day for what I've done. I hurt the Ni family and those who love Skylar. I hurt my parents and shamed my family. May God bring eternal peace to Skylar and the Entereni family. After securing a plea deal, the judge now gives Chae her sentence. Rachel Cha, it is a sentence of the court that you'd be imprisoned in the West Virginia State Penitentiary for a period of 30 years, but she will have the possibility of parole in 10 years. And now for Eddy, it is a sentence of the court that you've been imprisoned in the West Virginia State Penitentiary for the rest of your natural life. That sentence is technically with mercy, which makes you eligible for parole after you have